Hello, everyone. It's me, Mark, with Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Today I'm going to do the Friday Comic Book Challenge put out by Alan over at Comic Collector Geek. And I believe the idea started with Matt at Matt Likes Comics. Now, before we get into it, if you hear any huffing and puffing, it's because I am dog sitting my son's dog, who is older than Moses, and he has, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like dog COPD, so he huffs and puffs. So if he wakes up, you'll hear him huffing and puffing. It's like a freight train. He does take medicine for it, but I apologize in advance if you hear all the noise. To get us started though, the covers today, or the books today, it's really not a cover challenge, it's a book challenge. And it's to find 10 stories that you enjoyed that you would recommend other people to read. And to start us out, I'm going to start out with Pep Comics 224. This is from 1968. The cover is by Dan DiCarlo. And the story I'm referring to in this book is called Father Knows Best. The script is by Frank Doyle, and the inside art for the story is done by Harry Lucy. And in this story, Archie brings a dog home, and his dad and the dog just don't meet right. He jumps on him, he knocks him over, stuff like that. So his dad's like, "No, we can't have a dog." And he kicks the dog out, and the dog's outside, and then the storm comes. And his dad feels guilty for sending the dog out in the storm. So he goes out into the storm to look for the dog. And he ends up finding him, and the dog and him get along, and he brings it home. And he ends up in bed with the dad. But the dog that they do find is Hot Dog. Hot Dog starts out as Archie's dog before he ends up with Jughead. So that's a really good story. The next story I have here is from Josie 38. This came out in 1968. Dan DiCarlo did the cover, and he also did the story inside. And this story is, I forget what it was called. Let me look real quick. And then you get to see the inside of the book, too. You have to be really careful with these older books. The story is... not that story. And these are two characters that you don't see very much. The story is called The Comedians. And it's got Pepper and Socrates. And it's kind of like a prank war on each other. He comes by and he grabs her and he picks her up like that. And he starts running with her and she gets all mad at him. So he mopes away. And then he tells her she has no sense of humor. So she gets mad at him and says, "I'll show him I have a sense of humor." And she gets him with the pie in the face. And then he sulks off again. And she goes, "Oh, I must have hurt his feelings." And she comes to see if he's okay, and he squirts her with the hose and starts running and laughing. And, of course, she starts chasing him. And she throws an egg at him. The kind of stuff that, boys and girls did when they liked each other back in the day when they can't admit that they liked each other. And he shocks her with a hand buzzer as they apologize to each other. And there they are chasing each other through the field. And Melody's sitting there, she's like, Josie says, "Look at those two, always playing around like a couple of kids." And Melody goes, "Just a couple of happy, carefree children." But I thought it was a fun story. And it's two characters that you don't see very much anymore at all. Let's see, the next one I have here is Archie 133. This came out in 1962. The cover is by Bob White. The inside story that I like is Passing the Buck. This is Cricket Odell's first appearance, by the way. And they introduce her, and she's the girl that can smell money. And in this in the story, Archie and Betty are walking down the street, and Betty drops a quarter, and Archie reaches for it, and Cricket knocks him over because he jumps for the money. And Betty's like, "Oh, this is Cricket," and she can smell money, and she introduces Archie. She goes, "Oh, you're Archie. Are you the boyfriend of the rich Veronica Lodge?" He goes, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, do you have money too?" He's like, No, I'm poor." And to get rid of her, he goes, "I'll show you someone that does have money, though." And he introduces her to Reggie. So she follows Reggie around all day, and they hang out together. And Reggie gets sick of her. She invites him over to play records, but she only has one record, and it's the sound of slot machines at Las Vegas. So Reggie wants to get rid of her, but he can't. He's like, "Archie, you have to help me hide from this girl." So what Archie does is he takes a coin and he throws it. So it hits the ground, and she comes running out of nowhere. He's like, "No, why would you do that?" And then he sees Jughead sitting there. So he runs over to Jughead and gives Jughead a couple of bucks. And Jughead's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll take a couple of bucks." So she runs over to Jughead, and she's hanging out with Jughead, and Jughead's like, "Oh, I gotta get rid of this girl." So he brings her over to Mr. Lodge, Veronica's dad, and he's, the millionaire. And she sees him and faints, and he comes over. Jughead tells him, she's like magic. She can smell money, and he holds a $50 bill over her nose. Her eyes are closed, and she wakes up. She goes, "That smells like a $50 bill." And Mr. Lodge is like, "Wow, you're wonderful. I think you're great. You have the same kind of love for money like I do." And then at the end of the story, he's like, "Hard to believe that she's not related to me." And he's got Veronica there, and he looks at Veronica, and he tells her to close her eyes, and he puts a dollar bill in front of her nose. He goes, "What do you smell, Veronica?" She's like, I don't smell anything." He's like, "Unbelievable." The next one I have here is Archie 196. This came out in 1969. I believe that's a Stan Goldberg cover. The story in this one is called The Scent of Success. The script is by Frank Doyle, and the inside art was by Harry Lucy again. And Archie introduces Cricket to Dalton, and he explains her powers to him. He's like, "That's ridiculous." He's like, "Dalton, you got money in your pocket?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Count it up and see how much you got." And she's going to tell you before you finish counting it. And she writes it down. It's $4.32 or something. And he's like, "That's amazing." And she goes, "Well, not only can I smell money, I can smell, rich people too." And so Archie's like, "Ooh, that's a good way to go find Veronica." He's like, "Go find Veronica." And she's like, "I'm not a dog. I don't do tricks." And Dalton doesn't want her to do it all. He just wants to study her for scientific reasons. But he kind of has like a little crush on her. You can kind of tell in the story. So they go off to find Veronica, and her nose is off. They find Mr. Lodge because Veronica doesn't actually use money. She uses credit. The next one I have here is Archie 656. This is the first appearance of Harper, and the story is called Here Comes Harper. This was put out in 2014. It's Dan DiCarlo cover. Dan DiCarlo did the inside art, and he also wrote the story. And Harper is Veronica's cousin, and she comes to visit. And she strikes up a relationship with Reggie, and Veronica's out to sabotage it because she doesn't trust Reggie. But it turns out Reggie does really, truly like Harper, and they work it out, and they start a little relationship. The next one I have here is Sabrina the Teenage Witch, number 16. This is from 1973. And the story in this one is called How Do You Spell That? And Jughead is over at Sabrina's house, and he picks up a bunch of his books, and he accidentally picks up her spell book with it. And as he's walking around town, he's reading the spells out loud, and inadvertently he's turning things around town to the things they shouldn't be. Like here on the cover, you see he makes a dragon. So Sabrina's got to go after him and catch him and get the book back, and fix all the magic that he's been inadvertently doing around town. Let's see, the next one I have here is Betty and Veronica number 271. This came out in 2014. If you were a fan of the girls in the Archie universe, this is the book you have to get. Not only does this book have Betty and Veronica, it's got Sabrina, it's got Josie from Josie and the Pussycats, along with Melody and Valerie. It's got Katie Keene. It's got Alexandria. It's got Ginger Snap. It's got Susie. It's got Bobby. It's got Sheila. It's got Cheryl. It's got Shrill. It's got Chloe, it's got Midge, it's got Ginger Lopez, it's got Big Ethel, it's got Cricket Odell, it's got Nancy, it's got Trula, it's got Maria, it's got Tomoko, it's got Laura and Lindy in it from Wilbur, it's got Samantha Smythe from that Wilkins Boy, and it's got Cheryl Blossom in it. I don't know if I said, and it's got Big Ethel. I don't know if I said Big Ethel or not. But it's got all the girls in it, and that's why I picked that one up. It's just a really, really fun book. Matter of fact, I liked it so much that I got a graded copy too. So it's always fun to have an extra copy to read. The next one I have is Archie's Pals and Gals, number 23. Besides being the first appearance of Josie, Pepper, and Melody, it's got a fun story in there. Melody is trying, I'm trying to remember too. Melody is in Spanish class, and she's not passing the class, and she's got a big exam coming up, and she's got to do good on it. So Pepper suggests that she go to the library and get tapes on Spanish and listen to the Spanish tapes, and she'll learn it while she's sleeping. Well, of course, Melody, being Melody, accidentally checks out the French tapes and listens to the French tapes, and it shows her sleeping in all these crazy positions. And the next day she shows up, and they're like, "Did you listen to the tapes? Are you ready for your Spanish exam?" And she says something in French, and Pepper's like, "Melody, that's not Spanish, that's French. You got the wrong tapes." And she's, "Oh well." And she goes to take her test, and her test is in her room 203, which is Spanish. But Melody, being Melody, walks into room 302, which happens to be the French class, and she takes their exam and she passes it. And it just shows the fun side of Melody, how silly she is, and how she just comes up with the craziest things to say. Let's see, the next one I have here is the Madhouse Glads, number 81. This is by, the cover's by Dan DiCarlo, and the inside is done by Gus Lemone. Limoni. I'm terrible with names. I always say that, and I apologize for butchering names. And the story in this one is when Johnny comes marching home, and Clyde ends up joining the Army Reserve, and he's got to go to his training for 2 weeks, like every Army Reservist does. And his anti-establishment and his anti-war theories and beliefs get in the way with what the drill sergeant's doing, so they bicker the whole time. And the drill sergeant doesn't like him, and he doesn't think he's going to make it, but in the end he ends up saving the drill sergeant when he gets hurt. And it just goes to prove you can't judge a book by its cover. even if it's a comic book, especially if it's an Archie, because 90% of the time the Archie covers don't match the stories inside. And the last one I have here is a very, very good book. This is Everything's Archie number 16. And the story in this one that everyone should read is a Summer Prayer for Peace. And it was based on an Archie song from the Archies that came out called Sunshine. It's one of the very popular songs. It did really well in Europe. It didn't do so good here in the States. And this story is based on all the male characters in the Archie universe get their draft cards. So you got Reggie and Archie and Jughead and all the guys get their draft cards. And as they leave, they run into Clyde. Clyde did it, who's also part of the Madhouse Glads. And he tells them, hey, let's just burn our draft cards and do what we want. And Archie explains to them that even if you oppose the war, that breaking the law and rioting won't bring about social change. And that's a theme that could apply to today's standards too, I think, with everything that's going on out in the world. And he says only by working together can you actually solve all of America's problems. And at the end, they actually have the lyrics to the song for Sunshine. It's a really, really good book, and I suggest everyone get a copy. It's not very expensive, and the story's really good. Well, those are my 10 books. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe. Please share. If you would like to do the Friday challenge, you just pick out your books and you hashtag Friday Comic Book Challenge. And that way we can see what you've done, as well as you can see all the other videos that everyone else has done. But until then, everyone have a good weekend, and I will see you Tuesday for a book review. Thanks again. Bye-bye.